Hello and welcome to your daily sports update for March 8th, 2024. My name is Lewis. What we do is we cover the basic overall sports scores and some stories from your sports for Friday, March 8th, and hopefully provide you enough stuff so you can have a very general conversation. Now, if you have more interest, you can definitely do some more deeper digging, but if you're interested in just a quick overview of stuff, that's what we're here for. All right, we're going to start off with hockey just because it seems to be the easier sport to talk about right now. There were 4 games on the ice. Colorado Avalanche in overtime win their 40th with a 2-1 victory over the Wild. The Coyotes with a 4-0 shutout of Detroit at home in Phoenix. The Dallas Stars get their 39th win of the season with a 6-2 win over the Ducks, played in California. And last but not least, the Winnipeg Jets, to get their 40th win, score 3 goals in the third period to defeat Seattle in Seattle 3-0. There were a lot of there were some trades that were going on as free agency ended today, or not free agency. The trade deadline was for today in hockey, and there were some trades made, but I'll be transparent. I don't know hockey well enough to know the names, the big names to see. The one that was highlighted the most was Las Vegas. They were able to acquire Thomas Hertl in a trade with the San Jose Sharks. Hertl, a 2025 third round pick and a 2027 third round pick from San Jose in exchange for the 2025 first round pick of Vegas, as well as forward David Edstrom, who is Vegas's first round draft choice in 2023. Now, the Sharks also agreed to cover 17% of Hertl's salary. He had 6 years left on an 8-year deal that was worth $65.1 million that he signed in March of 2022. And he had to agree to waive his no trade clause, which he did, so that worked for him. The Tampa Bay Lightning picked up defenseman Matt Dumba from the Arizona Coyotes ahead of the deadline. The Lightning sent a 2027 fifth-round pick to the Coyotes for Dumba and a 2025 seventh-round pick. Now, Dumba's in the last year of his contract. He'll be an unrestricted free agent at the end of this season. And the Coyotes didn't cover any of his contract. So, if you know hockey and that means something to you, great. I'll be honest, I don't, just being transparent, don't know all the players well enough to be able to tell you all that information. But that's your hockey information. In women's college basketball, there were a few games. As we mentioned last time, we are in conference tournament season. So most of the games, as I'm looking now, were all conference tournament games. Number 24, Louisville loses at number 14, Notre Dame, 77-68 in the ACC quarterfinal. Number 1, South Carolina wins 79-68 at home against Texas A&M to stay undefeated at 30-0, 16-0 in conference. They used a 17-9 second quarter in order to get the big advantage, as the rest of the time the quarters were decided by 3 points and 2 points each. In the Big 12 second round, number 17 Baylor wins at home against Texas Tech 71-60. In the Big 10 tournament quarterfinal, Maryland upsets number 4 Ohio State at Ohio State 82-61. And there's a belief amongst the sports writers that this may knock Ohio State out of one of the top number 1 spots in the tournament to come, starting not next week but the week after. Number 11 Virginia Tech 55-47 winners over Miami in the ACC quarterfinals. Number 10 NC State with a 3-point win, 54-51 over Duke in the ACC quarterfinal. Number 8 LSU and defending national champs, 78-48 winners over Auburn in their quarterfinal tournament. Number 3 Iowa wins 95-62 in the Big Ten quarterfinal over Penn State. In that game, Caitlin Clark set the most ever 3-pointers in a season by a Division One player, women or men, as she passed Steph Curry, who had 162 in his season at Davidson, and Darius McGee, who had 162 last year for Liberty. Both of them took 36 games to get the amount. It took her 31 so far to get 164, so she passed them by two. So again, the Iowa Hawkeyes win 95-62 over number 7 Penn State. So at least 7 in the conference there. Number 20 Syracuse upset at home by Florida State 78-65 in the ACC quarterfinals. Number 2 Stanford winners at home against Oregon State, number 13 in the nation, 66-57. Michigan with the upset over number 12 Indiana 69-56 in the Big 10 tournament. And in double overtime, number 5 USC defeats number 7 UCLA 80-70 in the Pac-12 semifinal. So congrats to those teams. On the men's side, there were 2 top 25 games of note. Number 21 San Diego State loses in overtime to Boise State 79-77. And number 25 Dayton wins at home against VCU 91-86. It appears neither one of those were conference tournament games. So there are a couple conference tournaments that start next week. So that works for the Mountain West and the Atlantic 10. In some NFL news, just a couple things of note. I'm going to pronounce this wrong, so I'm going to save that for the end. I will tell you that the Broncos have agreed to allow Russell Wilson to talk with teams about either a trade or possibly signing with them in free agency. And it's been reported that he has talked with the Steelers and the New York Giants. Also, the Raiders announced that they're releasing quarterback Brian Hoyer after one season. And the Steelers have also announced releasing Allen Robinson, wide receiver, after one season. And I think we mentioned this yesterday, but in case we didn't, the Patriots and tight end Hunter Henry agreed to a 3-year deal. So, good news there. Oh, the one I was going to tell you, the Ravens and Justin Madubuike agreed to a 4-year, $98 million deal. It's considered a major win-win for both teams as he was their sack leader. It is a long-term deal and help free up some salary cap space before free agency. So, the deal is worth $98 million, including $75.5 million guarantee and $53.5 due at signing. So, it's a record for defensive tackle in terms of guarantees in total and at signing. The $24.5 million average per year is second only to Aaron Donald. That's your NFL news. Now, as we typically do, we'll spend the rest of the time here talking basketball and some of the big games that happened. So we'll start off. Let's see. Let me get our scores pulled up here for you today. So the New Orleans Pelicans win at Philadelphia. Philly continues to slide without Joel Embiid. Final score was 103-95. Zion Williamson scored 23 points, had 12 rebounds. Brandon Ingram chipped in 17, also had 17 rebounds. Najee Marshall had 19 points off the bench to lead New Orleans. For Philadelphia, they were led in scoring by Tobias Harris, who had 21 points. He also had 10 rebounds. Kelly Oubre, with a rare start, had 20 points and 7 rebounds as well. And Paul Reed provided 17 points and 11 rebounds off the bench, as they are now playing without Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. They now fall to 35-28. New Orleans improves to 38-25 with the 103-95 victory. The Washington Wizards get their 10th win of the season, 112-100 over the Hornets. This game was played in D.C. Wizards were led in scoring by Kyle Kuzma, who had 28 points. Also had 8 rebounds and 9 assists. Almost had a triple-double. Denny Avdija had 18 points, 14 rebounds. And Jordan Poole chipped in 15 points off the bench for the Hornets. or sorry, for the Wizards. For the Hornets, they got 32 points from Miles Bridges. He also had 12 rebounds. They also got 21 from Brandon Miller, but it wasn't enough as the Wizards, again, get their 10th win of the season, 112 to 100 over Charlotte. In Cleveland, the Cavaliers win their 41st game of the season, getting a 113-104 win in overtime over the Timberwolves. Remember, the Wolves were playing without Karl Anthony Towns, who is supposed to be out until the postseason. Now, you might remember they beat the Celtics earlier this week with a huge comeback. The hero of that game was Dean Wade. In this game, he had no points. He was minus 25 on the court. The only starter with a minus rating, but it didn't matter because they got 34 points from Darius Garland, even though he shot 2 of 10 from three-point land. And they got 33 points from Jared Allen, who also had 18 rebounds. So a big double-double game for him. Karis LeVert provided 15 off the bench, and Georges Niang scored 16. For the Timberwolves, they were led in scoring by Naz Reid, who had 34 points off the bench. They also got 19 from Anthony Edwards, who shot horrible, 7 of 27 from the field, 0 of 7 from 3. And Rudy Gobert, 7 points, 17 rebounds, and he fouled out. In the midst of him fouling out, he makes a money sign at the referee implying that there's some kind of betting problem. And needless to say, he will probably face some kind of fine as he did this in the closing seconds of regulation of the overtime loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And so after that, he got a technical foul, and Foster didn't. He was doing it towards referee George Foster, who didn't see it, but there was an official, Natalie Sago, who did, and she issued the technical. So just be prepared to find out either a fine, a penalty of some sort, or even a possible suspension. So don't be surprised if that comes on down the line. Again, as the Cleveland Cavaliers win 113 to 104 against the Timberwolves. In New York, Jalen Brunson makes his return, scoring 26 points as the Knicks win 98-74 over the Orlando Magic. Along with his 26 points, he did have I'm looking at the wrong one. He had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, but he played 29 minutes in his return from his knee scare. He did lead the team in scoring. They also got 19 points from Josh Hart, who had 7 rebounds, and they got 15 from Precious Achiuwa, who had 14 rebounds. For the Orlando Magic, they were led in scoring by Paolo Banchero, who had 23 points, 9 rebounds. They also got 13 points from Franz Wagner, but not enough as the Knicks with a 24-point win, 98-74 at home against the Orlando Magic. The Atlanta Hawks with a big win on the road, 99-92 over the Memphis Grizzlies. The Hawks were led in scoring by DeJounte Murray, who had 41 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. They also got 16 points from Bogdan Bogdanovic and 15 points, 11 rebounds from Clint Capella. The Grizzlies were led in scoring by Jaren Jackson, who had 21 points. He also had 9 rebounds. They got 14 each from Vince Williams Jr. and also from Jake LaRavia. I keep trying to make sure I don't pronounce these names wrong. It was the 29th victory of the year. It pulls Atlanta to 5 games within 500 as they're now 29-34 with their 99-92 victory over the Memphis Grizzlies. The Oklahoma City Thunder win their 44th game of the season, 107-100, as they played at home against the Miami Heat. The Thunder were led in scoring by who else? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 37 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. They also got 15 points from Jalen Williams to help secure their victory. For the Heat, they were led in scoring by Jimmy Butler, they were led by Jamie Jaquez Jr., who had 25 points off the bench. Jimmy Butler was the leading scorer on the floor of the starters, as he had 20 points and 10 rebounds, 8 assists. Not enough as Oklahoma City 107, Miami 100. In what was one of the big games of the season, the Los Angeles Lakers win at home against the Bucks, 123-122. In the game, LeBron James ends up sitting out the game. He was downgraded to out because of a sore left ankle. It was his ninth missed game of the season. Uh, let's see. The game ended when Spencer Dinwiddie, who got the start instead of or in place of LeBron, gets a huge block on Damian Lillard to prevent him from getting the game-winning basket. In the end, D'Angelo Russell led the team in scoring. He had 44 points, also provided 9 assists and 6 rebounds. Anthony Davis, in 41 minutes of play, had 22 points, 13 rebounds to lead the Lakers. The Bucks were led in scoring by our dear friend Giannis Antetokounmpo, who provided another triple-double, 34 points, 14 rebounds, 12 assists. Dame Lillard had 28 points and 12 assists of his own. Again, it wasn't enough. Even though they had 6 players in double figures, they still fall 123, the Milwaukee falls 123-122 in Los Angeles. And last but certainly not least, the Rockets win at Portland 123-107. The Rockets were led in scoring by Jalen Green, who had 27 points. Fred VanVleet, 18 points, 10 assists. And Al Sengun, I'm going to keep saying it the wrong way, 19 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists for the Rockets. For Portland, they were led in scoring by Delano Banton, who had 30 points, 8 rebounds. They also got 23 points from Anthony Simons, but it wasn't enough as the Rockets win 123-107 over Portland. It is reported that Steph Curry is unlikely to miss a bunch of time after the MRI on his right ankle came back without structural damage, so he's not expected to miss too much time. So that's good news for the Warrior fans. As we look at the standings, the Warriors hold a 5.5 game lead over Houston for 10th in the final place in the Western Conference, and they're only a half game back of the Lakers, a game and a half behind Dallas, so for 8th place. So there's some movement that's still capable there. Oklahoma City is leading the Western Conference as the 1 seed, as they got a half game lead on the Timberwolves. They got a full game lead on Denver, who's made a great surge there. The Clippers are still close, only 3 games back. Pelicans in the number 5 spot, 6 games back, and Phoenix at the Mendoza line of the Western Conference, 7 games back, 37-26 to hold a half game lead on the Sacramento Kings for that 6th place spot. In the East, despite the 2 losses back to back, Boston still holds a 7.5 game lead as they have that lead on Cleveland. They got an 8 game lead on Milwaukee, 11.5 on the Knicks, 12 on the Magic. Miami, they've got a 13.5 game lead, and Miami's in 6th place, tied with Philadelphia, but they have the tiebreaker, so Philly's in the play-in round at number 7. Indiana's number 8. Chicago, 1 game under 500, is at number 9, 17.5 games back. And Atlanta, 19.5 games back, 5 games under 500 at 29-34. Take up your 10th spot, with Brooklyn being a full 4 games back. So those are your updates for today. For what occurred on March 8th, 2024. Like and subscribe if this is actually something that's been good for you. Otherwise, I thank you for taking the time to watch. And until tomorrow, have a great day.